Hey guys, Tom here. Well, I wanted to make a comment about this prophetic word manipulation stuff, man. It's like, wow, it's really getting out of hand, I think, you know? Um, there's the Disney characters. I'm going to say, I did listen to the Disney character that's over there in Portugal the other day, and I made it through their entire video. I don't even know what happened, but all of a sudden it seemed like they were beginning to speak my language or something closer to it, as though they're, willing to admit that, hey, you know what? It really is a thing between light or darkness. Again, I don't know what I think there's a bunch of people out there that think that there's you know some place in between that they're going to be able to hang out uh, while they're waiting for the new Earth or something. Maybe that's what it is. Because remember they were talking about the new world, the new Earth coming. And if you read the book Revelations, I'm pretty sure it's in Revelations, isn't it? Where it's outlined how in those end days, when the end times come, that there will be a new heaven and a new world created to replace the old. I know in another description, it's as though the world is renewed, as though it's actually put into a reset mode or something. Now, could that at all be like, voila, like that, in the snap of a finger and a blink of an eye, and everything's pristine again? Maybe. Maybe it's a longer process than that. What I found out is that um, everything that's illustrated in through art and story as being a few moments, is usually in my time greatly extended. The one tear that falls represents 1,000, that kind of thing. It's different. But in any case, I saw the one today that's over there in the northern country. I listened to them the other day for a moment or two until I was like, okay, I can't stand you anymore, because of the way they were talking. And I was thinking, well, you have been representative of the black dog god in the past, and it was obvious. But anyway, she was dressed, in my eyes, like a Catholic girl from the local Catholic high school, St. Joe High School, in their colors. And she had the cross on, wearing of the cross. Oh, goodness. Um, so I I listened to a bunch of it, and I was like, I was making notes about the stuff they were talking about, like mental health and a tarnished ego, and they were talking about obedience. And I thought, with the manipulations that they were putting out there, I thought, what do you mean obedience? Obedient to your idea, or to your attempt to goad me, by accusing us of being a chicken, quote unquote. Because all I could think of whenever I was listening to what they were saying, which was like, you basically, I think that the message was, don't question the stuff again. Just leap. Don't look. Just leap, and accept it. Like, don't worry about this, and don't worry about whether or not you're going to be able to maintain it or something like that. Or, in other words, practical considerations, right? Just in other words, just damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. Don't fear to travel where angels fear to go, but instead just jump in, right? But and I could think of Marty McFly, buck, 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 trying to win over the. Nah, you know what? We already know that you working for the other thing, and you being so manipulative, you know. And I think, how long did it take you to put that makeup on? To put on that much makeup, actually, and in that expertise type of fashion. I'm sure it took a while. I heard this one girl talking about it, and she says a lot of these women are taking like an hour to make up their face. Um, that says an awful lot. An awful lot. Um, how much are those nails? That looks expensive too. Why are you not wearing a ring through your nose? I was thinking with the words you were saying and the attitude I was getting, and then there was the indications that in fact you have been trained to be a hen pecking at the male, peck, chicken head, peck. No, I see you. I see you. And it's well, it's a nice little look and all that, and it even looks like you're not really wearing or doing a what am I trying to say? A filter. But the other one, I could listen to in parts today, and I had to be like come back to it, and we'll see, about it later, type of thing. And so I came back and took it in chunks. And I have to admit, I've skipped through pieces and everything. I'm like, I don't know how they listen to my meanderings whenever I even have something to look at, and I'm finding it difficult to. And what it is, things come pretty well defined for me. Again and again, people will say things are black or white, and it's either A or B. And more often than not, I'll see a third thing. There's that in between stage, and there's those that aren't quite there. And she's talking about the service to self thing, and what other service is there, baby? What are you doing? What are you in service to other than yourself? Truly, whom else do you serve? Well, because if you're just, cranking out merchandise and products, even if it is helpful products, you're basically in service to self to make your money, unless, you're giving these things away at a discount, like a charity. But you're in service to self, unless you're. But see, here's the thing: you can say service to self but then it's all about slavery. Yeah, you know what? Heaven truly is in service to self. And now what we're talking about there, and that group, is a God who doesn't change. Now this is a real big thing whenever you think about what fire is and what a world, an ever-changing world, is. Okay, and what they do, and you can see how the attitudes can be shifted, and the damn TVs, the damn television, and everything can be made to sort of shift and change, and that's the thing that he doesn't do. He is what he is, and the game is what it is. The program is what it is. Love, everything's defined very well, like in the light of day. But your real choice. There's three different stages. Either A, you're in the camp of light and life, in that camp of the God that is for light and life. Okay? Now, or you're in the other camp, which is, too bad. Well, that's over for you. Or you're in that gray area of somebody that's either not gotten into the good place, which is to get out of here and to get into where? Life. Remember? When you leave here, it's to leave into life. Okay, so, which is, what is this place? Right, exactly. So either you're A, no, you're in the other camp. I think that's pretty much a long forever time if you ever come back, okay? And or you are in one of those that I believe are recycled. And I do believe that you can only be recycled so many times before it's been decided what you really truly is and will always be. And do you want to keep going round and round and round and round? And see, here's the thing. Even if you go to heaven, it's not promised that you'll never return. It's written right there in the book, and you can infer from what they're saying whenever they say, and if you do this, that, and another, and you're such a wonderful, great hero of heaven or whatever, you'll be made a pillar there, and you'll not have to go back out. You'll be there, and you won't have to return to the game again. But make no mistakes, okay, about what really is happening. You can be a love and light type of hippie and have lots of good intentions and have a really pretty good heart. And as I think it's Abraya, as she was saying about how there's these unseen agreements, that the darkness wants to perpetrate upon you, and you're not under any, if so that's why. Okay, I want you to imagine for a moment, like these worlds. People will say they'll build their world around you, right? Okay, so that means is they have worlds that they built. Okay, now those worlds are all subsistent worlds because they're all dependent upon the life, that which is the truth and the way, that which is the light. It's where the energy is coming from. It's for the original world. Everything else is subsistent to that. It's dependent. It's all dependent upon that, unless they get their own little gig going on, which some of the alchemists do. And the thing of it is, though, is I don't think they have what the real God has, and they still have to keep coming back to supply their own little kingdom, the competitor kingdoms. Okay, so logic would be you want to make sure you get into the right place. Now, the way it's written, the way it turns out, and the way it looks to me is, in fact, the original place, right, where all the other little worlds are actually contained within, in like pocket verses or dimensions or something like this, or off to the sides of it, and which, in other words, if the original world ends, all those little worlds of their creation end, absolutely end. They're cut off. They're like, uh-oh, the power got cut off. It is written that the world was created through him, by him. Yeah, it's by him, through him, for him. Now, I would tell you that means that he would be the reality generator, in a sense. Okay? That would be who they would call everybody, because he is the seed, the living thing that is the seed to the world. Okay, that it is all based on, is going around, and it all serves. Because remember, it's by him, through him, for him. That means for his purposes. Now, you could go off with some other god and go to some nice place. You'll come back again, though, because you're going to have to be recycled. Again, why not go for the original, the right God? Now, they do say Krishna, if you go with Krishna, you're not coming back from his kingdom. That's what he's quoted to have said, that if you go with him, then, that's where you're going, and that's where you're staying, basically. Hold on. They were saying something about entities that are like calling you to come down here or something like that, and explore this thing or that thing. And I would tell you, don't do that. As a matter of fact, send me money, send rope, send whatever, to continue us rising above and out of this place. They say that she got down, but she never got tired. It's guaranteed that we're going to make it through the night, which can't go on forever, because there's got to be a morning after. We just hold on to the dawn. I would just say, guys, I know everybody wants to be sovereign, but what can you stand against? The rebels, the Rebel Alliance, will say there's power in numbers, and I'm like, yeah, I know that, but the truth of the matter is now get this. This sounds audacious, I know, uh, arrogant, maybe conceited or whatever, but it's confidence and it's my knowing after a lifetime of discerning the clues, um, that it really truly is a contrived environment, whichever world we're in. If we're in the living world or the dead world, that they're contrived environments. But I know, you know, why the movie Tron was made. And it was because of a brief um, dance with the thoughts of these things on my screen are as though they're living, even though they're simplistic creatures in their thinking and what they're doing. They have a thought pattern, you know. They do this, they do that. They won't do these things or those because they have motivations. Of okay, that was why the movie Tron was made. It was about alternate realities. It was about different dimensions and different life forms. Okay, in the holodeck. Okay, uh, under the proper control, just pretty much anything can be done in a world that is so very real to you and me because it's tangible. We can touch and feel and taste and smell, see and hear. All these things is very physical, tangible environment. It seems so concrete. It's so the rules of the matrix seem so very rigid that you can't break them. But that's not actually the case. And while it is actually the case for the majority of those within the Matrix, there are those special characters. Which reminds me of Chrissy Hind, who, if you know, is quite special by her own claims. She's special. She is special, she says. Um, and she's got to have herself some of our attention and then demands, give it to me, because I going to make you see nobody else here, no one like me. And she says, I'm special, so special. I got to have me, you know. So it's a great tune. You gotta listen to it, and it's quite entertaining. I thought it was extremely entertaining. I really liked it. I saw her. She was mentioned somewhere the other day. I don't know if she's out doing some shows or what, but it was good to see her out there and be reminded of that again. Back on the chain gang. Um, oh, where was I? Let me look at my notes. Again, no, would I want to frighten you and say there's some reason for you to be afraid? Well, no, not at all, except, having to be forced to go around again, only under the, I should say, well, I mean, maybe there's a place where you can get high enough where you haven't been taken in, you're not considered a resident of the God of light and life in his house in the heaven, okay? But you got a high place, and you're not going to be left there in the middle of the sand painting as it's blown away or burned away, okay? Or made to fall into like where I went to. So maybe without even alignment. But again, I told them, they were talking about power in numbers, right? Okay, well, all the power in numbers is meaningless when it comes to the creator of the world. Okay, the original creators. Okay, from the beginning. Listen to Emerson, Lake, and Palmer. From the beginning. Okay. Again, if you have a video game that you're playing, okay? And you're playing a little simulator world, and it's civilization of some sort. It's whatever. What is it that can't be done? You're the designer. You're the programmer. In the beginning was the programming language, and there was the programmer, and there was the programming language, and the programming language was with the programmer, and the programmer was the programming language, and the programming language was the programmer. And what can you not do in the world that you are programming? Hololo, hololo. If you get the right one that's standing around going, hololo, hololo, half of the enemy's forces suddenly drop their weapons and go, you know what? I don't want to work for these guys anymore. I'm going with that boy. Hololo myself. I'm going, yeah, hololo. That's right. That's the truth of it. Or entire cities could be evaporated in white light. And when we're talking about cities, sometimes we're talking about people, houses that are cruising around, ships of war, giants that you can't recognize as such, but yet still that's what they be. Do you think anybody's going to be able to catch on to this? Do you think that, oh, I guess we could sell some product? I don't know. So anyway, we're going to put all this together in a really a much more coherent package here in the near future. The conditions continue to improve. Our defenses continue to improve. We do continue to rise. I'm just reporting that as the news. I'm not saying, that's our plan or anything. It's what we pray, and it's what heaven's doing. It is the story. Again, remember the story. Because in the last book, the last story, it was written, and it was in that one book, and in the last book I wrote, it was, we're the winner, we're the victor, we're the ones who ride away with the prize, and the last book, as far as I can tell, is we get our stuff back, and we get our freedom back, freedom from all of that, all that is not today, and go on, etc., and so on and so forth. And as I was hearing today, we're going into our winning season. So again, I pray all that. I say Amen in the name of the Prince of Peace, our Father who art in heaven. Amen. And again, that's just an example of what did they say to him? They said, "But Lord, in whose name can we pray?" Why do you think they needed that? Why do you think they needed the proper name to pray within? There's a name game. There's an identity. It's a real thing. They have their real club. They want you to join their club. It's a service to self kind of organization. It's the heaven, the ones of light and life. You'd like them a whole lot. I'm telling you, if you got up there with them, they're going to be like, oh man, it's so nice to have, and you're going to be beamed, hit with all this love, and well, it's just beautiful. If you've ever felt it, and you like it, if you like goodness and love and puppy dogs, kittens, and children, and these kind of concepts and sentiments and so on, then you're really going to like the people of the light a whole lot, because the light is the love. That's what most people agree on once they've experienced it. If you're open to love and you're not, all messed up with, the hate thing living in you, saying, run away from it, run away. Because, it'll suck you in, it'll take your sovereignty, and they'll make you part of them. They want your soul. They actually want your soul. They want you to give them your life and your soul and whatever you have to become part of them and join them. Join them. That's what they want. That's all. I have no problem with joining with the heavens above. I love the sky. I love it. I love it. The white, their goodness and their purity, and that's why I was looking at those Abba chicks today. I was like, I wonder why I never really paid them that much heed back there in the day. I mean, they were cuties, and they had some real nice lyrics too. But then again, I was getting into Ozzy, I think, probably about that time. Oh, Lord, help me. Um, yeah, so I was, listening to this stuff, and the reason why I talk about any of it is because, they have that thing going on, which is like, coding that says, Tom, it could be nice and it sounds sweet, and even though it's talking witchcraft stuff, really, um, it's like, if you can't enlist the help of the skies above, of the heavens, um, if you can't get them to pay attention, you can't get them to accept you, then, I'm hoping that there'll be a secondary thing set up, and it won't be like the only thing that, like in the book, because there's a bunch of people out there who, other than having made some major mistakes and fallen in with the wrong people, should be in the camp of day, because they're the kind who want to ride in a one horse open sleigh, singing songs about, going to grandma's house over the hills and through the woods, and that kind of thing. Um, what I would tell you though, kids, is whatever you decide, even if you're going to try to be your own gods, is you should really renounce and rebuke the darkness. You really should do that regarding wrath, which, again, you've heard me talk about it before. About as far as finding a soul tribe, well, I would say try Jesus if you can. Um, I heard the term divine partner. I thought, Christ, the light itself. I'm married to the light myself. So by whatever name it goes, you see where I'm at on that? And that's why I go like with the Prince of Peace, or him whose name is worthy. I want to know that I'm dealing with who it is I want to be dealing with. Right. Um, I know I'm supposed to be picking up people at some point, and yeah, we are going to be going forward. I heard some crazy person earlier saying, I catch bits and pieces of it, and I'm like, I can't listen, because it's one moment it's like, what in the hell are they? Do they think that they're? And then the next moment I'm like, oh, it's a train wreck, and it's hard to turn away from sometimes, but we're good. We're moving on, and the eagle's not going to crash or come crashing down. All I can tell you is you can try to curse us. I mean, obviously that's been something that they've enjoyed doing, and all their little tricks and everything were allowed to work for all that time. So it's probably very difficult for them to accept that none of that's going to work anymore. But again, whatever you do, see, is going to have a real tendency to work for me on a whole bunch of levels, and that you're not really understanding, I don't believe, because you would cease to to do these things. You would cease to try and invade and come up with yet another story, which is not anything other than an excuse to again invade and try to do this, that, or another. I don't even understand why, but it's on again. It is working against you and working for me, and they're making sure that that happens. Now, I'm not exactly sure what the results were today, but they are making sure that I'm changing the way I see things and the way I hear it and the way I'm going to respond. And again, people keep talking about how they want a personal type of thing. They want to get down in the dirt and roll around with me or something. And whereas the thing of it is, I keep choosing me, myself, they say, and I let God take care of it. Yep, yep. Every time I choose God, every time I choose my Father in heaven, the Holy Spirit, the light, the skies above, all those white people, it really does seem like they are convinced that That's me, and that's what they mean that I'm choosing myself. And I, I really have, really all along. I don't know why I would choose something other. I really don't. I can't understand why I would want to do that. Why I would want to abandon the white people. Why I would want to abandon love. See. This is what I'm saying about all these people. They're like, oh, they're trying to stay sovereign, and watch out for the big Tommy boy because he's going to grow up and he's going to be a big bright light, and he's going to be like, you're going to be sorry if you don't go with me. But I really won't do much of that at all because I can't guarantee anything to anybody. 'Cause I know an awful lot about how this works, but I don't. Okay, it's like all these things that I've said in the past that have been proven out to come true. It was just me talking it out. Them there with me was saying these things that I'd never even heard before, and or talking about things in a way that I would I would think, who is this, and what do they know that I don't? That they're so very competent. Um, well, this is already half hour long. Let me just move on from where I was. Again, if you'll notice, if you do any investigations, and I'm not saying go downstairs, okay? Did I say there was a petting zoo downstairs? No. That's from 13 Guests. It's not nice at all down there. And we're continuing to climb up and out. The heaven keeps us climbing out a little bit more, a little bit, again, more and more. And of course, we're supposed to be really gone from it very soon. And then once, we hit the stage, I guess, all our friends are going to be like, hey, good, I'm glad you paid your dues. Now you can sing the blues. Hey, Ringo, have you guys ever seen that movie with the Beatles? But it was I think it was Help. It's one of the movies, I'm pretty sure it's Help, and an awful lot revolves around Ringo and his ring. Those darn Muslims. What I would say to you guys is use your words. Really, I don't know exactly what you're doing. If you try to rely on this setting up vibrations and stuff and this and that, I want to ask you how you're going to react if you get to see too much reality and you get to see that there are things that they're not everyone's not the same size, okay, and that not everyone is clean, and some of them got things crawling around on them or in and out of them, and there's things that are really dastardly looking that look like they will eat your soul, okay, because they will. That's why you want to go with the light, because you love the light and you want to be in the light, and you'd rather be recycled through the light umpteen times having to come back to earth from heaven. Because see, once you make it to heaven and are counted as one of heavens, okay, especially if you had to go through some horrendous suffering and this and that. I mean, there's people out there like Michael Landon, for example. I know that he has done good works, really good works, and substantial stuff. And there's several people that I could come up with, I could name that. But anyway, even if you have to be recycled, even if there is a karmic type of thing, well, what that would be with the other guys that's in the darker side. But even if you are sent out from heaven again and again, once you've made it to heaven, remember, you're part of that family. Whatever life you're in, now here's the beauty. Here's the beauty between them and them of the light. You won't remember. You'll believe it's your first life. You'll be steered back towards the light. You'll be steered back towards God. You'll be steered back towards making that commitment sooner in life because you already have it with you. And even if you don't, you'll still be steered by that type of spirit towards correctness, happiness, goodness, light, etc., so on and so forth. So you would be on a course with the best guides that are very loving and gentle and kind and merciful. And you will eventually get to that state of perfection where you don't have to return anymore. Whereas on the other side of harshness and I'm going to rule over people and use people and suck them dry and leave them as a burned out shell like they're a cicada that like yeah. Is that what you want to be? Is because I mean on the other side there you either that you're going to become whoa wow or you're really good at at doing something like playing the guitar and getting people to watch you. Okay. But you're gonna earn it for sure or they're gonna eat you. All right. That's the difference between the dark side and the light side. Nobody's saying that you won't have to ever come back. They're just saying that if you pick the light side and you go with light and life and the one guy, the one son, right? Then you're going to get out of the prison planet. You're going to become his. And you're going to be his property. You're not going to be your own God in competition with the guy who built the place. Or in competition with all those, the cannibalistic human underground dwellers. The ones that are all in competition with each other and the biggest of them all and are willing to throw each other under the bus to it's pretty horrible. It's what kind of do you want to go to the Red Lodge or do you want to go to the White Lodge? And that's the thing. If you go to the White Lodge, then you're confirmed as that, and it's going to take an awful lot for them to let you go. In other words, if you're like me and you got into some weird situation like this, the white people, God and them, they're just actually waiting for you to pop back out so they can go, what the hell are you doing down there? We've been hearing stories and this and that, but we couldn't see and blah, 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 blah. We heard about it. But your prayers arrived and there were news and rumors and this and that. And finally, you're like, oh, thank goodness, my people. Yay. But they won't let you go. He's not. Remember the story about he'll leave the 99 for the one? That's love. That's him being jealous of you and not willing to let the other guy take you because you became his and you were good and you were quite good and you were getting better and you're becoming more and more good each time you come back for him, for the kingdom. And you wouldn't want it any other way because, hey, that's the house. That's the guy. That's the deal. That's the game. That's what you wouldn't want to leave your family where it's all good and everybody loves you and it's great and you just right for what? Death? No. Who I am is who I am is who I am, or is what is she? Or what makes me good? I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard it. There's lots of fun in the name games, guys. Lots of fun in all the symbolism. But when you come right down to what it is do you know how to get out of the world? Do you know where the other worlds are? Are you able to leave the, quote, planet? Do you know these other realms that you can go to? That are gone and disconnected from the world. Do you know of these places? Do you know what your aim is? Because if it's just to hang out and see how it all turns out and hope to see the real reality, past the other reality, and any other illusions that might be imposed by those who run the prison planet, right? That's why you go with He who never changes. He is the God of light and life who has no darkness within him. He has no hate or anger within him. It's set off to the side. It's called God's wrath or whatever, this or that. And you know what? It really came from, well, it's I wouldn't say well, that's sort of a complicated thing, isn't it? Anyway, in other words, it doesn't influence him. It's not a part of him. What is called wrath, anger, hate, that's not within him. It's not going to have a say-so in him, which is really good. It's real good. You don't want anything that's you don't want to get in with it. That's whenever I listen to these people and they talk about their sovereignty and everything, yeah, I'm for it, and I'm for my own personal sovereignty. But the thing of it is I don't want to be counted out as a separate individual from that which is the light. Okay, it came down and it's with me. It's part of me. I don't want it to ever leave, and I don't want to go anywhere where it's going to not be able to go with me. No, it's just, again, what are you if you change? What are you if you take on something that's peace? The entity that's known as peace. What are you if the entity known as anger is actually removed from you? Who are you? How are you? What are you? What do you want to decide? Who, how, or what? Are you a human? Or are you a jungle creature? Down in the jungle now, baby. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be selling the book. I think it's a freebie. I think I'm just going to give it away for free. Maybe we'll write a different book as a follow-up to all the questions it's generated now that so many years have gone by. Thank you so very much for loving us and sending good vibes to us and praying for us. Thank you for any help that you can offer. Again, unlike the darkness, okay, the light is very straightforward. And yeah, it's not unconditional. Are you unconditional? Are you going to open your door to just anybody that's walking down the road? No. Are you going to give yourself to just anyone who wants you? No. Well, why not? Oh, there's all those practical considerations. Yeah, that's the same thing with heaven. You can't let in that which is poisonous to that which is life. You can't let death move in to the house of life. That's why we've not been able to accept darkness as a part of the house of light. It doesn't really make sense, does it? It just doesn't really compute for me. Maybe if everything had gone absolutely perfectly and I had been able to discern some form of improvement or luxury perhaps, or anything like that. But what I just can't see why I would want to be partnered ever. Never. I just can't see why I would choose to leave the light for the darkness. Ever. I can't see why I would want to be stuck, especially after all the damage. Okay? After the damage, it's like, oh, well, that decided everything. I'm going home. Boom. That just decided everything. Goodbye. I'm going home. Screw you guys. I'm going home. And the reason why is for practical reasons. It'd be an eye for an eye. Well, I don't know. Do I get my eye back? Because, see, the way I'm looking at it, it's like, I didn't go home. Because even if I show up missing this, that, and something else, that can all be fixed. That can all be replaced. I can be restored, remade, body, mind, spirit, and soul. So I have a perfect body and a perfect mind and a perfect soul, perfect heart. By heavenly standards, not by the satanic standards. Which I think basically what they're looking for is a disabled being. One that it's chasing its own tail at best. And more likely, from moment to moment, is in conflict with its supposed other that it's attached to. Romantically, maybe? I don't know. Okay, again, thank you so much for all your love and support. And I hope that you'll be able to go my way. God bless.